Welcome to Forever, man. Let's go. Come on. This forever. No surrender. Yeah. You know that this right here forever. And there will be no surrender. Now allow me to reintroduce myself. They call me J.O.
Welcome to the Irrelevant E podcast. I'm
thanks. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I'm super stoked and grateful to have you. Like, you've been around since like I'd say almost day one for like the Irrelevant Bros. So for those,
yeah, it was definitely back in the day.
Yeah. I don't even remember how that really started out. I know that we kind of like met on Twitter, and I don't know if it was like a comic related thing, but yeah, I think we just kind of like connected on the nerd level.
Yeah, I just happened to put out there that I was looking for a podcast about just movies and just random things out there, and you guys happened to reach out to me, and right there it was when the magic happened. And ever since then, I've been riding with y'all. So
that's
like
right.
You said, it's definitely been a while.
Yeah, back in the days of the shameless plugging, we were like, pick us.
It's funny because y'all used to just be my lunch break thing. You know, I get in the car because I had a few podcasts to get caught up on, and during my lunch break, I would just sit and just listen to y'all's podcast, and I used to have to give you to the lunch break right there.
Dude, that's funny, man. That's awesome. We really appreciate it, man. Like I said, you've been there pretty much since like day one, so I was like real stoked to have you as like a guest on the show because, I mean, it's kind of like you're part of like our Irrelevant Bro history. And I mean, so for those if you're tuning in today, I'm Irrelevant E or Eric, and this is my show. Things are just a little bit more in depth with the nerd talk, movies, music, you know, and maybe some politics too. It depends on how it goes. But yeah, why don't you tell us about yourself, man? You got a pretty interesting life going on right now.
Yeah. So originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now I'm currently living in Mari, Japan, via Uncle Sam. I've been in the Air Force for about 7 years now, just a month over. And I've been stationed in the U.S. and New Mexico. I was stationed in Turkey for a year, and now I'm about to do a 3-year tour in Japan. And after that, might be heading back to the States. Who knows? So really, that's just going to be up in the air. But that's pretty much what my life is right now in a nutshell.
Wow, that's incredible, man. I didn't know it was 7 years. So thank you for your service, of course.
Oh, no problem, for sure. Yeah, it's been a crazy 7 years. You know, going from New Mexico to Turkey to Japan. Just really been out there traveling. It's been an incredible journey, and I appreciate everything that the Air Force has, the opportunities they've given me throughout these years. So it's definitely been a heck of a ride.
That's amazing. Where's been your like favorite place to live so far?
Favorite place to live? As of right now, I'm going to have to say Japan. And the only reason I say Japan is because the food is just phenomenal. I love Japanese food. I've always been a fan of it. So just having the authenticity of it right here in my backyard, it can't be beat. Then after that, I would definitely have to say that New Mexico was definitely a close second, mainly because it was a 6-hour drive to Las Vegas.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. I can only imagine. Like I can only imagine what Japanese food is like. It's got to be fantastic if you're actually in the area.
Yes, it's amazing. Yesterday we went out, got ramen, and it was mind blowing. So definitely excited to try out more places once restrictions get lifted due to COVID.
Yeah, crazy times for sure. Okay, I gotta ask. Have you tried the A5 Wagyu yet? I know that's what like Japan is hyped up for.
I have not had it yet. I've heard about it, haven't had it, but definitely believe it's on the list to try.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you kind of have to, like, if you're in Japan. I mean, I'm sure it's like crazy expensive, but dude.
Oh, absolutely. So my wife, she's already been living here a year before me. She was in Okinawa. And of course, since she was here a year before me, she's already got to try it. So I'm the one missing out on everything. But better believe that it's on the long list. We have a giant list of things to do here, and that's like number 3 and number 4.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm jealous, man. I've always wanted to go to like Japan, China. That's always been on my bucket list, and of course, like right now, I'm like, you know what? Maybe not right now. But I mean, I think Japan's probably faring better than most of the areas right now, aren't they?
Absolutely. In fact, the area that I'm in has had 0 cases since the pandemic has broken out. So they've been doing an excellent job of just obeying, the social distancing and everything else like that. So thanks to them doing that, no cases. So we've been able to travel at least 5 hours outside the area, which is a lot more than other places. So they've definitely been doing everything they can to keep a lid on it.
Dude, that's awesome. Like, and that's like the exact opposite of what's going on. I mean, so like here Texas in general is kind of just not doing great, but especially where I'm from, like I'm from Little Lubbock, Texas, and this place, they don't care. Like I think we were on like top 10 worst cities by population.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty.
Y'all trying to outdo Florida, I see.
Yeah, exactly. It's always been Texas and Florida, man. We're just like we're better than you at everything, even catching coronavirus. It's just like a highly politicized thing.
It was definitely a big change because when it happened, the pandemic, when the outbreak happened, I was in Turkey, and so the Turkish people, they took it a lot differently. They shut down everything. Saturdays and Sundays, you weren't allowed to leave your house. So they took it to the ultimate extreme. And then when I was coming to Japan, I had to travel back to the States. So I got to Maryland, and it was just seeing people outside, seeing people still moving around. I was like, whoa, this is, I thought we were still, super shut down. And then I traveled from Maryland to Seattle. And again, I was just, the way they're handling things, it was like a ghost town. Like nobody's on the streets. And I'm just like, oh man, it's like I'm back in Turkey again. Then I get over here and I see people out and about, but of course they're wearing their masks and everything. So everyone's handling it differently, some better than others. So hopefully, things get better in Texas.
For sure. I mean, and like, yeah, it's just crazy. I'm hoping that everything ends by at least 2021 because I'm like, man, I don't know if I can keep doing this for the rest of forever. But yeah, it's crazy how many like different responses there are from everybody. And I mean, I'm not trying to make it like a political thing, but here in Texas, like, or here in Lubbock, we've had like a lot of music festivals where you pack like 2,000, 3,000, 15,000 people in one small area. And I'm like, nope, I'm not doing that. But I mean, to each their own. Like, I just take it a little bit more seriously because, I have like 2 little ones and it is what it is. But I'm all for like everybody, doing their own thing. It's like, if you want to catch it, that's fine with me. I don't care. But
right, that's the thing. You can't stop everybody. Some people are, just going to go out there and do their thing. You just got to look out for yourself and for your family. And I think that's what people just really focus on. Just, do your thing, but just know that there are others out there who are trying not to catch it. So just respect their space and their privacy.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, man, if everybody kind of had that outlook, I think we'd probably be in a lot better shape. But, people are people. And I mean, there's good things about everyone and bad things about everybody. And you just take the good with the bad, I guess. I don't know. But
yeah, definitely.
All right, man. I have a really hard question for you. And like,
all right, hit me with it.
It's I'm gonna ask you 2 questions actually, because we're kind of on the same wavelength, but I ask everybody on the Irrelevant Bros this question, and it's, what is your favorite movie?
Oh man, if I had to just say it, it's gonna be Back to the Future.
Ooh, you know what? I think I saw you tweet that. That's I'm not gonna say I'm surprised by it. I'm just like, that's a good answer. It really is. Like the first Back to the
that
Future?
movie, it's just the most complete movie to me that there is.
Yeah. Dude, there's so many iconic things about like that movie, or like you, it doesn't matter how old you are, like you know something about that movie, whether it's like
Hmm.
the Nikes, like the shoe, the shoe connoisseurs are like, oh, everybody loves those
Right.
shoes. Like that's the iconic shoe to have. In fact, I'm not even a shoe guy. I want them. Uh, the
I was tempted. At one point, they had the shoes for sale, and they were well over, I think, like $6,000, something crazy like that. And I sat there and said, "How long will it take me to save up
oh
and
my
get those shoes?"
dude,
Because that's how much I love that movie.
I understand that, man. I do. I get it. Like if there was something like, I don't know if you know this, but my favorite is The Princess Bride. So
Oh, okay. I think I did see you share something like that.
it's, to me, that's like an iconic movie. I don't even know if it's really like considered the best movie in my list of movies, but it's one that I hold like dear to my heart. And if there's like something from that movie, I might actually spend that kind of money, like, on his like sword or like on something. But I totally get
Hmm.
that. Cause like those shoes are sweet, dude.
Oh yeah. Like
um
that movie has been so much a part of my life that one time I went to Orlando, Florida, and went to Universal Studios, and they had the movie DeLorean there, and I almost, as a grown man, almost broke down in tears and got
dude,
to take a
that's
picture with the
awesome.
DeLorean. I definitely might have elbowed a few children to get there first,
Oh, you
but
have to.
oh, absolutely. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity. And so it was, that movie's just, I think people quote it now, they don't know they're quoting it. Like I hear people saying all the time, where we're going, we don't even leave roads. And it's just like, do you even know where that's from? Or you
Right. Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, it's got to be a good movie whenever you can go on to like AutoZone's website and type in like, you can literally type in an ID number and it'll pull up a flux capacitor. I was like, that's crazy. I mean, it's iconic, man. So I get it. Like it is a good movie. I do enjoy that one.
Absolutely.
Uh, yeah, I'm with you. Like, great answer. I don't know many people that actually say that movie, but I gotta say that is like one that's been on my list for a while. Like, it's definitely top 10. Um, so yeah, great answer, man.
Thanks. It's definitely going to be number one on mine as always.
Awesome. So I guess you and I have always talked about comics. I know we've gone on a couple of rants like regarding certain characters like over Twitter.
Yep.
But I gotta ask you, are you a DC fan or are you a Marvel fan?
You're going to put me on the spot like that. I'm going to have to choose DC. And because my favorite superheroes are DC, so I just have to.
No, I'm with you. I'm a DC fan myself. And
Yes, I'm DC to the core. However, in terms of movies, they're just It's going to be Marvel in terms of the movies because they're just winning all around there. But in terms of everything else, it's going to be DC to the core.
right. Oh, for sure. And like I totally get that because like when on Irrelevant Bros, like I think one of the things that has been very controversial and popular at the same time is the fact that like people either like really hate my takes on certain movies or like that they're so out there. I think Daniel was one of the ones where I don't even remember how he described it, but he was like, "Your takes are so obtuse," is what he said. And I'm like, "Yeah, I
I
get
think I
that."
remember that.
But the thing is, like, I actually am a bigger fan of Marvel movies, like you said, um, for the sole sake that like I just don't really much care for many of the DC movies. And so when you come out with a really good Marvel movie and then like a steamer, the next one, I'm like, well, that wasn't very good. And people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. So like, that's where I'm at. That's the boat I'm in. Like, I'm a fan of both, but bigger DC fan. But when it comes to movies, man, it's Marvel.
Oh yeah, and you know what? And I will give DC this benefit of the doubt is that Marvel movies are getting made by Disney. Disney, as they're a giant in the industry, they do things that shouldn't, or legally probably should be done. But the fact that they're backing them, you gotta, I give DC that benefit of the doubt. Like, hey, they have Disney behind them too. I'm sure they would be making blockbuster films as well.
Yo, for sure, man. Yeah, when Disney scooped him up, like that was a smart move by Disney. Because I can remember thinking like, my sister used to like to go to the Disney store in the mall, and I was like, why? That place is full of nothing but like stupid cartoon. Like, I'm over that. And then all of a sudden, like a decade, 2 decades later, I'm over here like, oh man, let's go to that Disney store and check out some of like the Marvel. Yeah, I'm like, that's a smart move because they captured all the nerds. And I mean,
and you're absolutely right about that. The Disney store used to be filled with Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, man, all those little Disney characters. Now when you walk in there, it looks like a Marvel store. You don't even know it's a Disney store. You see a small little sign that says Disney. And, you're right. It was a smart move by Disney to pick them up because if we look at Marvel back in the day before Disney, they had Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider. So it was definitely a good move by them.
Yeah, I think it worked out for both companies for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, I popped into a Disney store and be like, you know what? Maybe I do need this Captain America shield for $300. Like, I'm glad I have a wife. She's like, no, you don't. But maybe.
See, my wife, she's terrible because she encourages me because she knows that if I go to the Disney store and I ball out on like the Thanos gauntlet that I got, or like an Iron Man mask, I mean, she can go to like one of her stores and ball out. So she's very good at just letting me go crazy. So
dude,
she's been playing me on that. But definitely, I go in there and like, oh man, I think I do need this Black Panther T-shirt.
Dude, that's smart. That's like super smart. I mean, dangerous.
Oh yeah, she knows how to play.
That's awesome.
She knows how to play that game, and she's been playing it well.
Oh man, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. That one hurt me for sure.
Yeah, it was just because it caught everyone by surprise. No one knew what he was going through, so it was like you couldn't brace yourself for that. And it was sort of like with Kobe. It's like someone you looked up to, someone that was iconic, and it played such an influence in culture. And then all of a sudden, they're just gone without, unexpectedly. So it definitely just hit a lot differently than most celebrity deaths. And especially since, everyone's looking so forward to Black Panther 2. Like, that was, everyone's like, oh, what's going on with Marvel? Next phase. Like, this is the movie we're looking forward to. And now it's out there. So you sort of feel left in a wind. You lose him. And I definitely think his death should be a statement and an awareness to people about colon cancer and getting checked early, because I know a lot of people don't like visiting the doctors, but anything could happen.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm a healthcare professional, and I absolutely will not go to the doctor. It's like I know better, but yeah, it's like, dude, that one, it's like you said, it caught everybody by surprise. It's one of those things that's not supposed to happen. You never expect it. I mean, man, that was great analogy with like Kobe. Is just, everybody grew up. Every 90s kid grew up like Kobe, even kids do that, like, still. And it's just like in an instant, man, life is fleeting and it's crazy. But yeah,
definitely.
I always, and I don't want to, I do, I'm going to get deep on this one, but I liked the Black Panther. And I think a lot of the reason I never said anything, like it wasn't my favorite movie. But I didn't say a whole lot about it because I think it did a lot more for the African American community. Because, I mean, like, race is a very hot topic today, and as well as it should be. I know you're very outspoken on Twitter, and I was like, man, I can't wait to talk to you about this too, because I think there's a lot of things going on that need to be made aware. We live in kind of a society where it's almost like it's trying to be brushed under the rug. But one thing with the Black Panther is that, like, yeah, you made an icon out of a, African American man who happens to have all the talent in the world. And he's like a superhero, which, that's, to me, I can remember growing up as a kid, like as a brown kid, and my favorite superhero in the world is the Flash. And so you would expect a kid who grows up, and I'm talking about from like the ages of like 3, man. I was like, ooh, Wally West this, like I had action figures, I had posters of the Flash. I mean, like I was a nerd from day one, man, out the womb. but
Yeah.
it's like I remember telling my wife this the other day. I was like, I said, it's a problem whenever like a kid like me, and I can remember thinking back, like I never wanted to be the Flash for Halloween for one reason, and it's because he didn't look like me. And
Yeah.
it's like it's one of those things where you're like, it seems very minor at the time, and you're like, I'll just be someone else, or I'll be someone with a mask. But like kids, like today can look at the silver screen and see someone who looks like them and be like, yeah, I'm going as the Black Panther, man. And to me, I'm like,
definitely.
I think that's probably what hurt me the most. It'd be like, damn, we just got like a really cool hero that embodies what some kids look up to, and now he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's definitely that, like you said, that representation point that that he brought. So he's done multiple influential characters. He was James Brown, he was Jackie Robinson, but to have something that everybody loves as a superhero, to finally have that and see that, like you said, on the screen, it gave everyone that, wow, I can finally see this. That could be me someday. It inspired a lot of people and have that representation for a lot of children. I still hear little kids, see them going to Wakanda forever. So it's just that impact that he made in such a short time. And then now to lose that, it's sort of like, where do we go now? Are we going to get this next, another Black superhero? Like, was that our only shot and chance? So it's just, sort of hit a lot differently, because it's like we just got him, like you said, we just got that, and now it's gone. So it sort of feels like, our representation has been taken away from us, because who else, are we going to have out there?
Yeah, for sure, man. And like I said, I understand that 100%. Cause like I said, as a kid who like wanted to be the Flash, and that's kind of the weird thing is like, I tried to explain this to someone the other day. And we were talking about more or less equality issues and not so much race issues. Because I do things like one of my other interests that I don't make like known on the show is that like financial interests. But we were talking about the disparity between men and women in the finance industry. And he was like, he was kind of playing it down, and I was like, listen, the thing is like women in movies are never represented in those movies, like in those roles. And I said, if you never envision yourself in that specific role as like either a woman or as like a Black man or a brown man, if you never see yourself as that, then you don't think about it. And that's kind of like the fine nuances of racism. And it's like, so kids don't grow up going like, oh, I can be a superhero, or women don't grow up going, oh, I can be in finance. It's not like imprinted into those brains, but it's like there's stigmas like men in nursing, or women in nursing. It's like, oh, you're a nurse. And it's like, okay, well, it obviously does exist. And that's kind of what I was saying is like, you can't as a kid see yourself as like a superhero if no one's representing you. And it's like, yeah, man.
I definitely think it was a football we lost.
For sure. And dude, and I liked his other roles, man. I remember watching 42 and thinking, wow, this guy's got talent. And honestly, I never even connected that it was Chadwick Boseman until I saw pictures of him from his movies when he died. And I was like, oh
yeah. I think a lot of people forgot about that one until you go back and you realize all the things he's done. You're like, oh, wow, I completely forgot that was him. And you forget just how truly talented he really was.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's almost like the Black Panther really eclipsed a lot of his other work. Because, like I said, it's something that I watched so long ago, and I was like, wow, that's a good movie. And I'm not like one for like biographies or like, portrayals of a specific character. But I can remember being like, man, that guy's a really good actor. If he makes you feel some sort of way in a movie, or if like they evoke that emotion out of you, that's a good movie. And like I said, Black Panther really just kind of stole the show, and I totally forgot about it. And I was like, huh, yeah, okay, yeah, he's talented.
Yeah, that should just show you the impact that Black Panther had. That it just took it to a whole new level. That honestly, you forget those other roles because he became T'Challa. He was the Black Panther. Like he himself brought on that entity. So you forget about everything else and you just focus on that one thing. And that's how big that impact was.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Dude, that's 100% correct. He's T'Challa, man. Wakanda forever.
Exactly. Wakanda forever.
So I got to ask you now, this was part 2 of the question. I know we got on that rant, but the other hard part, what's your favorite Marvel movie?
Oh, favorite Marvel movie? I'm going to have to say Captain America Winter Soldier.
Yes, dude. I knew I liked you, man. I knew it. That is such a good one.
Absolutely. It's going to be number one. Like that fight scene in the street between Bucky and Captain America, like just seeing that fight scene and then seeing the behind the clip scene made me like it even more. But man, like it was just, it's perfect. It's the perfect Marvel movie.
Dude, that's honestly, that's what sold me on Marvel as a company. Like I saw Iron Man and I was like, wow, that was really good. And I mean, I've read some of the Marvel comics. I was never sold on Marvel because like, I've always felt like they were kind of too pushy with some of their comics. Like rather than going and getting a Batman comic, you know, Marvel does this thing where you get an Iron Man comic, but then it's like Iron Man, the Merchant of Death, Iron Man, this, Iron Man, and, the Hulk. And there's like 9 different offshoots of one character. And it's like, dude, I like to collect. Like, I want to follow one story. And so I always felt like Marvel was really trying to make that buck. And I get it. Like, I totally get it. But that's what kind of pushed me towards DC. And it's like, I saw Iron Man. I was like, wow, that was incredible. That was a really good movie. And then the rest of them came out and I was like, oh no. I was like, what happened?
Like that.
And I was like, you know what? This is the first time that like superheroes are being portrayed on the silver screen. And I'm like, I'm gonna watch them. I'm gonna power through them. And I watched, I remember I went to watch The Winter Soldier with my parents and I'm not even sure why. Oh, I think it was my stepdad's birthday or something. And he was like, I want to go watch that one. And I was like, okay. And so, dude, we went and I honestly, like after that movie, I was like slow clapping because I was like, holy crap, that's a good movie.
Yeah, I can't tell you the amount of time I've had a Marvel movie marathon and ran from the first Iron Man all the way down to Endgames. I've done them in chronological order, every order possible. And every time I watch it, I might skip some parts on some of them. I might fast forward or even, skip over it. But I never skip over Captain America Winter Soldier. And after just watching them so many times, I'm just like, this movie has everything. And it's just the better of the, action, the character development. And, it's just perfect.
Dude, yeah, it really is, man. I don't have a gripe about that movie. I actually had someone have the audacity to tell me, they're like, that movie's boring. And I'm like, you're boring. I hate you.
They clearly didn't watch the right movie. They must have been thinking of like Iron Man 3 or something because it clearly wasn't that one.
Dude, and I mean, I know this is probably the most controversial opinion that I have, but I absolutely did not like Guardians of the Galaxy. And
okay.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. But I asked this guy, I was like, well, what's your favorite movie? He was like, I really like Guardians. And I was like, get the fuck out. I was like, you're no longer welcome. But
you know what? I respect it because I too have a controversial Marvel movie that I don't like, and that's Avengers Endgame. I did not like it.
Really? You didn't like Endgame?
I feel like nope. I feel like Avengers Endgame was just a lot of wasted time. Didn't need 2 whole hours for a lot of that. And then I didn't like the whole fat Thor thing. I'm just like, in the comics, this guy he can't do that. Like, that's not, it was so far from the comics that Marvel sort of or Disney has just got bored. I was like, yeah, we'll give them anything. This will suffice them. We just need to end these contracts. That's how I felt about it. And then they're making up their own. That's the other thing, too. Like I said earlier, Back to the Future is my favorite movie. So for you to argue against their theory of time travel, you don't do that. I took that as a personal attack on my favorite movie.
Dude.
And I was like, no, what? I can't have it, Disney. You're out of control.
I'm pretty sure they even made her like a reference to that, didn't they?
They did. They made a whole joke about it, about that and Terminator, saying, "Oh, those movies
Yeah.
are, inaccurate." And I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, Marty did not go back and kiss his mother for you to say that.
Dude, that's funny. Okay, so it's been a long time since I've watched that movie, like probably since it came out. I don't normally revisit them because like if I somewhat like them, I don't go back to ruin that opinion. But now that you say that, I remember on one of the episodes of Irrelevant Bros, I actually mentioned that. I said there's a lot about that movie that I think is sloppy. And one of the things that really bothered me is that in the end of what was it? What's the one before that?
Infinity Wars?
Infinity Wars. So, he's telling him, he's like, there's only one outcome, right? And
right.
The thing that bothers me after I watched that movie and I went home, I was driving on my way home and I was like, you know what? None of this movie would have ever happened if that mouse hadn't ran over like the time machine in that pawn shop or whatever that was. I was like,
right.
What a weird plot. Like, if you think about it, the whole plot hinges on this mouse, like running across Ant-Man's like time machine. And I'm like, I don't like that. Okay, small gripe. And then after I thought more about it,
it might be a small gripe, but that is not the first time I've heard that. I've heard multiple people say that.
Dude, I remember coming out of the movie theater thinking that, and I went on to the next Irrelevant Bros and I was like, this is my biggest gripe. And they're like, that's your biggest gripe? I'm like, yeah, I think so. That I was like that. And like the fact that I'm pretty sure we just watched Infinity Wars again.
Yeah. And I think one of my problems was in Infinity Wars, I remember them specifically telling Thanos to sacrifice something you love in order to get the Soul Stone. Then they get to Endgame, and it's pretty much, just throw anybody in the hole and you can get the Soul Stone. So I'm just like, well, if that was the case, this man just killed his own daughter for no reason.
Exactly, dude. It's like, what was the point of throwing her in there?
Exactly. And then we had the battle of who's going to die out of, honestly, the two most unimportant characters in all of the Avengers.
Dude,
I'm just like, it's
sure.
okay. You're both replaceable. Give anybody a gun and they can do what you
do. Right? Yeah. It's like you were just a like mercenary. I mean, a really good one, but like, yeah. I guess, that brings up a good point. Like you would think that it would be Hulk and Scarlet Joe, Black Widow.
Exactly.
That makes more sense. It's not like, Hawkeye ever like had any sort of like really in-depth relationship with her. I don't know, man. I got a lot of beef with a lot of these movies, so we could do this probably for the next 2 hours.
Oh, I could go on. I have gone on a whole 12-hour shift rant on just Avengers Endgame itself. So don't even get me started.
For sure, man. For sure. Yeah. No, I'm torn these movies apart left and right, and I mean, it's not a popular opinion. I don't know if you know this, but people are really crazy about those movies.
They are. You say something bad about those movies, and people think that you're attacking a religion, and they go off.
Dude, for sure. They're not as bad as like the Taylor Swift zealots. Like I remember saying one bad thing about Taylor Swift, and like you'll get hate mail and death threats for that.
Ooh. I better be careful.
So if you're listening and you're a Taylor Swift fan, she's great. She's the best.
We love her so much.
Never better. Oh man. So what's so what do you have going on in your life, man? Are you I know at one point in time you said you were thinking about starting a podcast, or is that
Yeah. Right now, sort of since COVID has hit, a lot of things have changed prioritize wise. So right now, I've been debating on, some things to do to fill up that time, as well as moving towards the future. So when I get out of the military, I can find, if another pandemic hits, jobs that will always be around so to keep me through another time like this again. So I've been looking to get certified as a personal trainer because of a lot of things I've noticed throughout the pandemic, people still was trying to stay fit and still trying to stay in shape. So I was like, that's something that's always going to be around. So let me go ahead and try to, get my foot in that door. So that's pretty much what I've been up to, is just working on getting certified as a personal trainer.
Nice. Well, that's awesome, man. Congrats. That's super cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've noticed that like people, I mean, myself actually, I've just gotten really lax with my my workout routine. Like I stayed in, I ate like crap, and I'm finally like, okay, 20 pounds later, like, hey, it's time to get back in it. What do you expect for the future? Like, let's say coronavirus stays around for a lot longer and people are staying out of the gym. Like, is it feasible to, work out at home? Like, is that something that you think?
Oh yeah. I see a lot of people, just getting into, home workouts, a lot more cardio. I know nobody enjoys doing cardio, but when you're stuck in the house, don't have many options. I see that becoming up. I also see a lot of people getting into building the home gyms because, if you can't make it to the gym, your gym's closed, or you wear a mask in your gym. And a lot of people don't like to wear the mask or want to work out in the mask. So I see the home gym businesses going up a lot. People getting treadmills. So I think it's just going to change. Not really people working out, but just where they work out at. Because those that are really dedicated, they're going to find a way. Because we've all seen videos of the people lifting logs in their yard and cinder blocks. So I think people are just going to change the way they work out or their location, and not actually just give up on it altogether.
Yeah, for sure, man. I could see that. I think there's been a big push for that industry, especially with things like, I'm sure you've seen it, the Peloton.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love those things.
Dude, I think they're kind of cool. I mean, I'm not like big on cycling. Maybe I should be big on anything right now. Like that's the point that I'm at. But no, I think the whole virtual class thing is really cool. I know there's, they actually just acquired like the mirror, which is like this big mirror that has like a hologram that's placed onto it and you can do workouts with it. And I think most of it's like resistance weights. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I could see things going.
I love the treadmill and the bikes that have like it's like you're riding through like a city or like a landscape and things like that. Because you get so caught up into it, you actually think you're out there, and by the time you realize it, boom, 30 minutes on your workout's done.
Yeah, for sure, man. I used to go to a gym that actually it was a real small gym, and it was like brand new, starting out, and they had a room that had like this big projector. And it went through like the whole Tour de France course, and like it was super cool. I like really enjoyed it, but I stopped going to that gym because like everybody started going there, and it was like this tiny gym. So you'd go in, you're like, cool, I'll work out with these 5-pounders since that's all that's left. You're like, yeah, I feel a burn, but
yeah, that's the worst when you go and especially those smaller gyms. They have great things, however. Like you said, it gets packed and you're stuck with the leftover weights that clearly nobody uses, nobody wants. So now you're just sitting and waiting, spending more time standing around waiting for someone to get done. And the thing, no one's ever done. They're never done on it.
Dude, they're never. It's like the endless like cycle of whatever they're doing. You're like, cool, you're just going to squat for
the endless cycle of, I got one more set.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you've been squatting for 9 hours. Seriously? Like, what are you doing? Like, whose butt are you trying to gain?
They walk away. They put the chalk on their hand. They take a sip of water. They check their phone. You ask, are you done? Oh, yeah, I'll be done in like 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Oh, well, one more set. What? You just said you were almost done.
Dude, yeah, it's the worst, man. It's the absolute worst. But like I said, I'm going to have to figure something out because like it's getting a little chunky up in here.
Oh, I feel you because of COVID, they keep pushing back our PT test. So with that being said, everyone's just been so lax. Even I've been guilty of it. Like, oh, I got a PT test this month. You know what? Let me go ahead and order that extra chicken wing. You know what? Popeyes, give me 2 biscuits.
Dude, man, that's like, yeah, dude, I get that. So when I started with the fire department, you had like your one physical test, and like some departments actually do like a quarterly physical test. And like if you don't pass it, you have to like pass it on this next turn or whatever. And I think that's a great idea. But like most departments don't. It's like the one physical test, and for the next 20 years, you're good. Like, there's no physical test whatsoever. The physical test is like showing up to a fire and not passing out.
Yeah, and that's definitely not what I want for the firefighters.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's kind of like, I think for the most part, like I stayed relatively active, so I couldn't actually fight fire. But here lately, I'm kind of like, yeah, I get that. You know, it's that whole like push it back mentality. I'm like, I could eat something. It's like, you want to go work out?
Yeah, that's terrible.
But yeah, no, man, I totally understand that, dude. Okay, so you were telling me kind of before we got started that you experienced something in Japan, was it? The earthquake.
Oh yes, my very first earthquake that I've ever experienced. So it was actually just yesterday. We're laying in bed and we're watching, just something on Netflix, and then all of a sudden I feel the bed shaking, and so I'm thinking my wife's just, doing her little rapid leg or something, or it's the dog scratching her neck. Well, I look over, they're both just laying there very calm, and I'm just like, hold on, why are you both so calm? And so I'm like, hey, are you shaking the bed? And she's like, no, that's not me. And then I see our mirror shaking. I see, the hangers in the closet shaking. And so, like I said earlier, she's already lived in Japan for a year. So this is nothing new to her. So I'm sitting there about to freak out, like, oh my God, what's happening? The house possessed? Like, so just like the exorcism. And she said, oh, it's just an earthquake. And she said it so calm. I'm just like, why are you so calm about this? Like, our house is about to collapse in on us. And so she's just like, oh yeah, that's just an earthquake. It's fine. It'll be over in a second. And just sure enough, it was over. I'm looking outside thinking, did anyone else see that? Nothing. Everyone's just another normal day. People's jogging outside. I'm just like, wow, okay. I see this is how it's going to be for the next 3 years.
Dude, that's funny. So I guess, is it like a normal occurrence over there?
I guess so. I guess, just minor earthquakes or just normal things. I know back in 2012, I think it was, they had a large earthquake that hit that pretty much left them without power and other sorts like that. So every now and then they do get those huge earthquakes that shatter things. But for the most part, I guess it's sort of like California where it's just like, earthquake, normal occurrence.
Right. Dude, and I've never experienced an earthquake, and I wouldn't know what that's like. I can probably guess that, like, if it does happen, like, I'm probably going to go from like real tough to like not at all.
Oh yeah, that was 100% me. I'm looking around trying to go through my mind like, okay, what they tell us in the books? Standing in the doorway, it's a bunker now. And I'm like checking around. She's still just enjoying the show, just minding her business. Same with like even my dog. Like I have a Chihuahua. I'm like, you've never been through an earthquake either. You're small. Like why are you not scared? Like I'm the only one about to freak out.
It's like why am I the only one that's freaking out? This is not normal.
Exactly.
It's like everybody's in on a joke except you.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact that, everything's shaking, and I wish she would have said to me, like, oh, you saw that earthquake or something. But no, she just kept going like I already knew what was happening. Here I am thinking we have, the exorcism of Emily Rose happening in our own home.
I can tell you, man, I would be 100% with you. I'd be like, this is not normal. We should leave. Call the authorities.
Yeah, but now I've already started working on the war stories for when I tell later on about, my first earthquake. I'm already going to hype up the story to make it seem like, I saved the whole family.
Exactly.
And I saved, the family upstairs.
Yeah, you have to.
Oh, absolutely. You got to, play it up a little bit.
Just hope that like Snopes doesn't fact check you or something. You'd be like, no, on that day it was like a 0.1 whatever. I don't even know what the like rating is, but
yeah, I didn't even look it up because I was like, I don't even know how that system works. But I know my wife. If I was to tell that story in front of her, she'll be quick to be like, well, pretty sure you're about to cry under the covers.
Dude. Yeah, I understand that. My wife's mean like that. She'll sell me out real quick. She'll be like, that's not how that went down at all. I'm like, oh man, that's awesome. Well, glad everything's going well. I'm glad that you're getting to travel. That's awesome, man. It's something I've always wanted to do. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, the travel piece is definitely a nice caveat to it all.
Oh, for sure. And you said 7 years, huh?
Yep, 7 years. It's definitely been, like I said, definitely a journey, and definitely has ups and downs, but I'm grateful for everything.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's definitely life. If It's always a roller coaster. Good times, bad times. You just gotta love it all.
Right.
I guess all you can do is
Yeah.
things that you love, whether that's comic books or talking politics. I don't know who loves talking about politics, but someone maybe.
I don't think anybody.
I don't know, man. I have a Facebook, and some people just I'm like, hey there, have a great day, and they're like, it's not a great day. It's like, oh, we're gonna do this, huh? Yep, okay.
I don't think anyone likes talking politics. I just think they like arguing. So they know that's the first way to start an argument is bring up politics.
Dude, for sure. I think that's what they say. Like, don't talk politics, religion, and race. And it's like, that's 100% Facebook.
Yep. They say don't talk about how you lose your friends, but it seems today those are the only things to talk about. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I try to find people who talk comic books. That's my thing.
Yep. It's a safe route.
Yep.
Until you start talking about what do you like better, Marvel or DC. And then once again, you got to throw that to the list of things not to talk about or to lose friends.
For sure. Yeah, that's 100%. I've actually had that argument online. I'm pretty sure. I get it. Like, some people are diehard DC fans. Some people are diehard Marvel fans. It's kind of like a rivalry between like the, name any rivalry really. The New England Patriots versus like literally everybody else.
Everybody else, yeah. It's pretty much that. You either with the New England Patriots or you're against the rest of the NFL. It's one or the other.
Yeah, it's like, who are they playing?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is.
It's like, who are they playing? The Browns? Go Browns.
Don't even know who the team is. I don't know anybody on that team, but guess what? I can't stand the Patriots. We're going to go ahead and root for that other team.
Exactly. Yeah, my Patriots are the Dallas Cowboys, though. I grew up in a family full of like Dallas Cowboy fans, and I don't even really much care for NFL, but I can tell you I hate the Dallas Cowboys because if that's a fight I'm going to pick, that's the one. I just like to.
You know what? I see. We just bonded even more right there because I can't stand the Dallas Cowboys, and it's funny because my wife's whole family are Cowboys fans, and that is a team I cannot stand. And quick story: back in 1992 or '93, when the Steelers and the Cowboys played each other at the Super Bowl, leading up to the Super Bowl, my parents decided to dress me up in the ugliest, itchiest Steelers sweater that they could find. And, so I go to school and there was a bunch of Dallas Cowboys fans there. And I just got ripped apart, bullied, and that day was just miserable. And I said to myself, you know what? It's going to be great when the Steelers win. I can rub it in their face. And to make things worse, the Steelers lost to the Dallas Cowboys in that Super Bowl. So not only did I get bullied for wearing that gear, I got bullied because my team lost. So it was just a miserable time. And I said, you know what? From then on, I will never like the Dallas Cowboys for what they did to me.
Dude.
Scarred for life.
I get it. I would hold a vendetta against them too. But like, you have no clue what you've done. Screw you, Jerry Jones, ancient bastard.
Exactly. They will feel my wrath.
Well, they've been feeling it, man, because I don't think they've been winning at all. But for some reason, Dallas Cowboy fans are always like, this year's the year.
Oh, yeah, they swear they are still America's team. However, I'm pretty sure they haven't been to the playoffs or past the first round of the playoffs in like 13 years or something like crazy like that. Like, they just keep getting, whooped on. And it's just like, how are y'all still such dedicated fans? They give you nothing.
Yeah, dude, I don't understand it. Like, I actually logged onto the NFL app to find, to stream the games. And it was like, pick your favorite team. And it was like, here's some suggestions. And it gave me it gave them to me by like state. And then it gave me the Dallas Cowboys at the very top. And underneath it, it said America's team. I'm like, whoa. Like, I don't feel like the NFL should really be endorsing this.
Yeah, definitely not. And I'm pretty sure Jerry Jones is just paying somebody off to keep saying that and keep them as America's team because it's not possible. Then again, he's buying those nice stadiums and filming it with great things. So I guess when you own Dallas,
yeah, no kidding,
you can just continue to do things.
He's taking it from Dak Prescott's salary.
Yeah, low key players don't understand that this is where their taxes are going to. It's just Jerry Jones doing more things to keep them as America's team.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Sports. I'm not even an NFL guy. I'm an NBA guy, which is even more weird for people.
I am actually not a basketball guy. Like I have a few select players. I'll watch it here and there, but I've always been a football guy. And so, NBA came back and I was just like, oh, okay, that's cool. I don't know anyone who's really still playing, but cool. No basketball.
Yeah. Which is crazy, dude, because you would expect that with sports being like gone and non-existent for the past, I don't know, since February, March, like whenever the pandemic hit. It's like you figure people would have been like, hell yeah, sports are back, but they're like, oh, it's basketball?
Oh, that's like exactly how it was when baseball came back first. I was like, why? Why do we need this? Like, it was okay. Just leave baseball gone. Bring back hockey and football. Those get me excited. I'm a contact sport guy. So when basketball came back, I was just like, oh, okay, great. That's nice. Now, can you give me a time frame on when you're bringing back football? What's going on with that? So, and it's funny because everyone assumes, oh, he's a black guy. He likes basketball. And I'm just like,
no. Like, not so much. Dude,
not so
funny.
much. I can name 5 players.
Dude, that's funny. Yeah, I'm with you on the whole baseball thing, though. I'm like, I don't even get that sport. I just know that they charge way too much for beer. And, like, it's not fun for, like, 8,000 hours.
Yeah, you know what? It's great though because being from Pittsburgh, we have the Pirates and they're so bad that they're actually pretty cheap to go to. So it's like, oh, you're bored? Oh, I got $2. Let's go to a Pirates game. And then it's like, nobody's here. We can go sit in the box and go live like high class people because nobody else is in the stadium to watch a game. So, and I remember at one time they was on a promotion that was like for $25, it's all you can eat nachos and all hot dogs and drinks. So we're like, oh hell yeah, $25, and then it's like $2 admission. Let's go.
Yeah, okay, that sounds actually pretty good. Yeah, see, I was stuck with Texas Rangers, and like my sister, my family, they're all really big baseball fans. And so we would go to a lot of Rangers games. And I mean, in Texas, dude, it's like a normal day is like 102 degrees. And you're like, oh, this is great. I can't think of anything I'd rather do than sit here in the middle of the sun baking, watching people not do anything for 6 hours. And I'm like, can I get a beer? And they're like, that'll be $42. And you're like, okay, great. Adds to the magic. Here you go.
Yeah, like I can even watch it on TV. Like I only in person can I watch a baseball game because if I'm watching it on TV, the minute they're switching sides or innings or changing, I immediately turn because the commercial's coming on. And even at the games, I'm not even paying attention half the time when I'm there because, like you said, when they're just standing around, they're repainting the white lines. I'm just like, all right, you lost me.
Right? Yeah, man. I feel
Give
that.
me a $30 beer.
Exactly. Yep, I get that, man. I get that. But no, football's back, dude. Football is back.
I'm so happy about that. Just when I got that message from my friends to do a fantasy league, it brought me to tears.
I think fantasy football is like the ultimate, like, I don't even know, like, you have to have like close friends to be in your fantasy football league. I think that's that's been like my favorite thing. Like, so I've been doing like this fantasy football league for like 7 years now. And it's just like a bunch of my friends, same friends over and over and over again. And like I said, I'm not a huge NFL guy, but I do enjoy that specific time period because it's just so great. Like your team either just like really sucks or is like really good. And I mean, I'll be honest. Here's my secret. I auto draft.
Oh no, not the auto drafters.
I do.
That hurts my heart.
But here's the thing. I use the auto draft and then I sit there and wait for like I watch people who are like trending up in their team. I'm like, okay, like you're gonna be good. I'm picking you up off the waiver wire. And then that's how I win, man. I don't even normally have the same team at like by the end of the season that even remotely resembles what I had because I do so many trades, but like it's just so fun because I've won 2 years now and everybody gets really mad. They're like, okay, the only 2 years that I've ever won were when I auto drafted.
No, like this year unfortunately, the person in front of me, his internet kept going out. So he was an auto drafter. And I hate them because whenever they pick, they always take the person that I want next. And it doesn't fail. So I'm just sitting there. And it's like I do all my homework. I do the research. I'm looking at the stats. I'm looking at literally everything. And this person's just like, meh, auto draft. I'll let them pick for me. And it's like, you did nothing. You didn't deserve that. I did the work.
I did the work. Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, I got a buddy who's like real big into it. Like I'm talking like huge, like it's his favorite time of the year. And he just, dude, I think he absolutely hates the fact that I auto draft. And not only that, so I'm sure he's going to listen to this. And Casey, if you're listening, ha. That's all I got to say. Yeah, man. But I get it. Like, yeah, if you auto draft, like you suck.
Oh yeah. And I feel like the people who do that, like you, they always end up winning because just somehow it's just a luck. Like they get all, of course, auto draft knows it seems like, oh, this person's going to be great. Let me go ahead and give it to them. Let's not give it to the person who's done all the homework and research. Let's give it to this guy.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah,
and I'm cursed too. So every year, at least one of my top players gets hurt. And it does not fail. I feel like I apologize to any NFL players who hear this. If you get injured, it's probably because you're on my NFL team. And it doesn't fail. Like, I am just unlucky. In fact, the year that, Peyton Manning got that big neck injury was the year I picked him first on my fantasy team.
Dang.
And every year, it's always been somebody else. And I'm just like, you know what? I needed to just start, maybe mailing these guys, let them know I picked them up and let them know to be careful. Proceed with caution for the rest of the season.
Yeah, you should definitely like tweet at them and be like, just to let you know, be careful out there. You are on my team in my starting lineup right now. So it would behoove you to watch your back.
Yeah, it was in your best interest to probably wear bubble wrap to every game.
Yeah. Okay. So are you a draft a QB first kind of guy?
Absolutely not. That was the only time. That was the one time I drafted a QB first because I was like, I'm not missing out on this year. And of course, that's the time. But other than that, nope. I never pick a QB first. I always wait till round 6 or 7, down there because, in most, the NFL probably has like 10 or 11 elite quarterbacks. Most of your fantasy teams are going to be 10 to 12 people. So there's a solid chance that everybody's going to give at least one elite QB or top 10 QB. So There's no rush to get on.
Yeah, it always makes me panic when people do that, though. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, this is first round. Why would you pick him? And I'm like,
I think people do that just because, it's still like a mental game to play with people because they're like, oh, man, that QB just went early. What do I do now?
And that's why I auto draft, because that's the mental game too. It's like, haha, I stole your player.
Auto draft will look out for you. Make sure you don't make that mistake.
Right. Yeah, man. I've previous years I've always done running back first. Actually, I've done like running back like the first 3. And because I feel like that's where it's won, man. Like you got to get a good running back.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? And the way the game has changed, it's like running backs are pretty much running back / wide receiver. So it's the best of both worlds. So like for example, the number 1 pick in our draft was Christian McCaffrey. Like that guy is essentially a wide receiver as well as a running back. So he's going to get you points. Whereas you just pick a wide receiver, he might not even get used. They're the ones that usually get hurt the most. Yeah. So, it's always safe to go with that running back first, unless you can get like, I don't know, DeAndre Hopkins or some top tier wide receiver immediately.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's if you're like in a PPR league, then you probably need to get like a running back that can do both.
Yep. Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey. Those 2 right there, they're going to get, at least, I'm going to say 8 catches a game just because that's the way usually most of their plays are designed. And then the rush yards come afterwards. So
Exactly.
It's best to go with them.
Yep. And hey, you can always rely on after that, you can always rely on like how many yards are they going to get? If you've got like a tier 1 running back, it's like, and especially if they have like a shitty team, you're just like, cool, they're going to hand it to him every play. And I'm going to get maybe 1 or 2 points every time.
So what you just said is pick up Ezekiel Elliott.
I did.
That's the Dallas Cowboys right there.
Yep, that's one of my picks.
Oh yeah, because he's going to get the ball like almost every play. He's going to get it. Like they're going to run it because essentially they're either going to be Dak can't throw the ball down the field, or it's just what, the only person that's going to get his yards is Zeke. So that's your bet.
Well, okay, so I'll probably regret this question. Maybe what is your fantasy football team name?
That's funny you said that because I just, for the first time, I shouldn't say the first time, but for the first time in a while, I switched up my fantasy name. So in the past, I've been off in the shower because you don't beat off in the shower. So that was my fantasy team. And then I went to the 1.21 gigawatts for JJ Watts and, of course, Back to the Future. Yes. And then I switched it up for the past 2 years to, it's going to sound terrible, but Hanging with Hernandez, because who doesn't? Yeah, okay. Who doesn't love those jokes? So yeah. I was like, you know what? Let me switch it up this year. Maybe this year I'll switch it up, and it can lead me to getting a win finally in this league because I keep coming in top 5, but I need this win. So I said, all right, I'll switch it up. So this year I'm now in honor of CD Lamb. I'm CD's nuts.
Yes, good one. I like it. Oh, see,
yeah, I try to, I was hanging with Fernandez for, a couple of years. I was just like, after that documentary came out, I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I need to switch it up this year. I don't want to, grudge up anything that might make someone feel some kind of way.
Right. You're like, that documentary made it too real.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and change it. And, so I try to, let's just go back to what I know best. Puns about nuts.
Awesome. So this year I had the fortunate luck of getting OBJ.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, my fantasy football team name quickly became something amazing. I changed I changed my name for the first time in a long time to Beckham's Booty Bombers.
Oh God.
So that's how I expect the season to go.
You know what? You're already heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I feel like even if I lose, I still kind of won. I mean, I got OBJ, and that. I don't know. Surely everybody knows about this, but like, if you don't, and you're listening to this podcast, I guess he likes to do. What is the term for that?
I don't even know the name to call it.
Hold on. Let me do a quick Google search. A Cleveland steamer. That's perfect.
Nah, there we go.
That's perfect.
There we go. Oh, you know what's even better? He plays in Cleveland too.
Exactly. Oh man, yeah. Oh, dude, yeah. So he like, you know what? I'm not even gonna. No, I'm not saying it on the podcast. You go to Urban Dictionary.
We've already started down that track. We've already started down there. You got to go all the way. You got to get the people what they want.
Okay. All right. Here we go. I'm going to get the exact Urban Dictionary.
Urban Dictionary is better than Webster's on all accounts.
Exactly. It knows more. It's with the times.
Exactly.
Okay. Here we go. Now, the definition of the Cleveland steamer is far more specific than listings I've seen here. A sexual act by nature, also known as a fetish, is when one person craps on another person's chest and, in parentheses, very important, then sits down and rocks back and forth. I don't think we needed that, like a steamroller.
Nope. Okay, I think the stopping point there should have been on the chest.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you told me to go through with this, so...
You're right. And you know what? You did not disappoint.
Oh, man. So, yeah, I think we've covered everything on this episode.
OBJ, if you hear this, we're sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm not sorry. I mean, that's you, bro. That's on him.
No regrets. All right. I like your style.
Maybe he'll be a guest. Who knows? No, probably not after that.
he can give us more detail on exactly what goes into a Cleveland steamer.
I would rather save that for a Bounce Pass podcast episode. I'll let my boys from the Bounce Pass handle up on that one. Well, I
definitely picked the right name for it, though.
Beckham Booty Bombers. I like it. Oh man, well, you got anything to add? You wanna say anything?
No, just that's pretty much touched on a lot of right there. I guess the only thing to talk about left is just speaking, since we were just talking about NFL, the disappointingness as well that came with the start of the season when the fans booed during the equality standing. So that was definitely a little to the start of what's supposed to be great, moving forward. That was definitely discouraging and disheartening to hear that on, coming from the fans.
I don't really understand it. Like, I get people have this like affinity for their traditions per se. So like, when you think about like the national anthem or, anything that has something of sacred value to them, I understand that. In this case, I don't think it inhibited anything. And I think that's what's disheartening, in my opinion, the most, because it's like, what were they hurting,
Right. And I think that was really comments that came from J.J. Watt. He was sort of confused, and I think it finally hit home to him that this was never about a flag. Everyone kept saying at the start of, when Kaepernick and everyone else started kneeling, they're disrespecting the flag, but it was never about the flag. It's never been about the flag. It's been those people who are, I'm just going to say, racist and bigots that have decided to try to take away from a whole movement to make it about a flag. And at the end of it, it was never about that. And I think that was proven this past Thursday at the game when there was no flag. They weren't, kneeling on the flag. There was nothing. It was just standing in solidarity, and they still got booed. And I think that's sort of driving our point home is that, it's about the inequalities and injustice in America towards people of color and not disrespecting towards, flag of truth, because as a troop in the United States military, I don't see that as a disrespect, because we know it's not about that. That's not the point that was, being driven.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I do understand that. I get, it's like once you come out and you say something like, oh, don't disrespect the flag, don't do that. And so you kind of abide by everybody else's rules and you say, fine, we won't do that. And then they still hate you for it. You're like, okay, so this isn't what it's about. It's not.
Exactly.
It's not about that. It's never been about that. You tell me what it's about, but they won't because you know what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that is disheartening. Yeah. And I don't know if that's something that'll ever be fixed. I just know that the right thing to do, in my opinion, would be just to make everybody aware of it. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, that's definitely what's been, just going on with sports is that everything's about the awareness of it, which is why you see the basketball players that's been wearing the names on the back of their jerseys and the Saints, because it's all just about the awareness of what's going on in the state of our country. Honestly, it's just that the treatment towards and injustice towards people of color has just been out of control. And honestly, it's not nothing new. I know a lot of people have been saying, oh, this is just a movement. It's just happening because of what happened with George Floyd back in May. However, it's honestly been something that's been going on since the 50s and the 60s, that every now and then, a rise in a movement picks up, and then there's a Band-Aid solution and it just settles down. And then that Band-Aid, just like all Band-Aids, it gets wet, it gets old, and it falls off. And then when that Band-Aid falls off, the wound opens back up again. And that's when we have this picking up. And, so hopefully this time, instead of putting another Band-Aid over it, they finally stitch up, fix the wound. And so that's what needs to be addressed. And that's what they're trying to bring awareness to at all points.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's one thing. We've seen these events happen. We've seen people, like when the whole like Black Lives Matter movement, I guess, initially started, there was a lot of solidarity there, through like social medias, maybe not so much as far as corporations go, like there are now. And I think some are still missing from that, but It's
Mhm.
one of the things I can say is like people are, I guess, understanding it better. Um, I guess a larger number of people are coming around to that idea of being in support of it.
Yeah.
Like it's still a highly politicized issue. But I will say, I've noticed more people do it. So hopefully, I mean, not hopefully it continues to go that way because the only reason it came about was because it needed to. The awareness was made because like
Right.
there's still injustice in the world against people of color, and you essentially want it to stop, but the awareness comes about when it's too late for someone, and
Right, exactly. And that's what we're trying to, get across. Is just trying to be in there. Is that let's bring this awareness to the front of the table. Let's deal with it now, so that there's no more, like you said, having to wait till something happens to be reactive. It's hey, we prevented it. It's preventable. Like every death that's happened, every injustice that's happened has been preventable, and it's all just done when we step up and we say something and we do something.
right, exactly. And that's my hope. Call me an optimist, but I'm hoping that someday it just we continue to kind of grow as like a society and be a lot more accepting, a lot more tolerable. And I think eventually it will. Say even if it doesn't happen like naturally, I think some of the older generations or some of the people who have this mindset will essentially be either out. I mean, you think about like the 50s, the 60s, those people are no longer here. And I think as a nation, we've become more tolerable and accepting of certain things, but there's still work. There's still a lot of work to be done.
Right.
And I'm just hoping that things.
There is, and I use the example all the time when I'm discussing with people. Like my father, he was born 1956, and when he was 6 years old, he went to go use a water fountain, and it turns out it was a whites only water fountain. And so because of that, he at 6 years old, when he was being threatened, they're threatening with lynching, other things like that. And so my father's still around today, still alive, kicking great health, but memories like that are still, stuck with those individuals. And you just, you always remember that. And so the same way that he was a victim of it, some of those people who might have been 6 years old on the other side of that table, who were looking at that and top out their parents to, hate the people of color, they're now adults. They're still, some of them are still alive and kicking. And those ideas, the same way the people who've been hurt by those, procuring those or giving those ideas out, they're still alive and kicking. So they're spreading that hate. And so I feel like at some point, like you said, that at our generation, hopefully it's like cutting it off, cutting off that dead limb. And, eventually down the line, that limb is no longer around, it's gone, and we can move forward in a better direction.
Right, for sure. And I mean, yeah, I guess I had someone almost use a very similar like metaphor, but they were like, hopefully this just gets to the point. It's kind of like when you water something down. If you keep watering it down, eventually it becomes water. And I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully that's where we get to in society. I mean, that's something I'd like to see. Like I said, I've never, I grew up in Lubbock, Texas, and it's predominantly white. I grew up Mexican, my family's all Mexican. And like I said, I've never had to go through many of those struggles per se, but I definitely have seen myself assimilate to other cultures a lot easier. And almost out of necessity, you want to be the kid that's accepted. Yeah. You just fit in with the other kids, that was my life, is just growing up with, white kids as my friends. And it's like, hey, and I still, it's funny. I don't take offense to this at all. And, in a sense, it is racism, but I grew up with a lot of people saying like, man, Eric, you're like the whitest Mexican I know. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? And it's like, because I can speak English? Is it what exactly? Because I don't, have an accent. I don't, but I mean, that's essentially what that is. And it is what it is. And eventually I hope all of that comes down and, like I said, just people.
Yeah, that's definitely something, like you said, it's a form of racism that we don't know or acknowledge as younger because, as an African-American male who, you hear it all the time. Oh, you talk really white, saying you talk proper, or a thing called an Oreo, things like that. And it's just like, no, like that's just, I'm just talking proper. Like, why is that a white trait that I'm this way? Like, it's not. And I think that's, again, something that when we're younger, you don't really notice that's racism. You just think it's just a sort of like a backhanded compliment. And it's just like, okay.
Yeah, I think deep down you probably do know, but you're just kind of like, well,
yeah,
I mean,
probably.
It's like, you guys are my friends, and so if you're racist, that sucks. But here we are. And I mean, yeah, and like I said, that's the hope that I wish things like that become more aware. Like, I guess the people around us become more aware. Like, hey, that's actually not kind of like a cool thing to say.
Right.
And also, it's kind of one of those things that we talked about earlier with like Chadwick Boseman being in the position he was. It's just like, if you never see yourself in that position, you never elevate to that level of whatever it is. Like, maybe you want to be a doctor, maybe you want to be like a financial guru, maybe you want to be something. I mean, make it a little bit more accepting of society to, place kids or place people of color in those positions, rather than like pulling them out of it and saying, yeah, you can't do that. Or, that's what I would like to see.
And, yeah, exactly. I like to see that too. I like to see the day where we're no longer having to say, oh, that's the first, African American in this position, or the first woman in this position. It's like, as a society, I want to see us finally get to the point where, we see a woman or a person of color, male color, female color, just anyone, Hispanic, Asian, you see in those positions, and it's just like, oh, cool, great. The person best qualified for it got the position, and no longer seeing these, oh, first this, first that still.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's like, really? We've been in the country for how long? It's like, yeah, let's get these first over with and get it to the point where it's just accepting and like, oh, hey, this dude is like the first president, Or,
exactly.
Yeah. So, but yeah, good point, man. Glad you brought that up. I honestly didn't even watch that NFL game.
Yeah. I just caught a lot of the highlights from it since the time difference is so much, but that was a major highlight that's been going around everywhere, and that was definitely, brought to my awareness on TV and on the internet. So definitely, when I heard it, seen it, it hurt. Definitely, it hurt, but at the same time, I was almost like, not surprised. Like, doesn't surprise me because I know a lot of fans were upset when baseball came back, and a lot of stadiums and players were, the whole Black Lives Matter T-shirts and posters. And I've seen a lot of comments on the Facebook post and Instagram posts, just the ignorance and the hatred from a lot of people. So I just assumed, I don't know why, I just, still wish the best of people. So when football came back, I was like, you know what, maybe things will change. And you know what? Unfortunately, it has not. We still got a lot of work to do as we see.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I mean, and like I said, I don't want to be the pessimist and like just give up on people. I mean, I think I even this time around, I've seen a lot more people who were very apprehensive to the Black Lives Matter movement the first time. They were like, oh, terrorist this, terrorist that, whatever. Okay. But like this time around, they're like, oh, because if, you get examples shoved in your face and being like, hey, point blank, like, this is racism. This is what it looks like. This is what you're doing. People are kind of like, oh, some are a lot more apprehensive to like admitting it. And it's not like surprising, people are going to be egotistical. People don't want their beliefs or their belief structures attacked. So it's like, that's why that is so hard for people to accept. But this time around, like I said, I've noticed a lot more people kind of accepting that. And I think that's cool. And it gives me a little bit of hope, at least.
Yeah. And the hardest part about everything going on too is that it's election year. So anything that happens in election year immediately becomes politicized and a political move used either by the politicians themselves or the people on opposite sides of it. And so it's like, no, it's not a political move. It's literally what's happening, and it's been going on. Like, please do not let this fool you. Like, and then it just gets worse when the politicians play off because they're trying to get those votes. So they're trying to play off the emotions of the people. It's like, no, like, don't let them fool you. This is not a political move. So anything that goes on during the election year is just like, please just hurry up and get past November 3rd. So that way we can get back to like, oh, okay, you know what? The politics are aside. Let's really, really get into this because let's be real. Media could be headed towards Earth right now, and people's going to be like, oh, that's just so-and-so trying to win votes and get us scared or, things like that. So it literally just the time of the year that it just happens, all this is going on in, and just the emotions during election time, it's just making it harder to move forward because people won't unify until afterwards. After November 3rd, and that's when it's like the reality of things click in. It's like, all right, you know what? 4 years we'll deal with the politics of it all. But let's really get to the issue here at hand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Come November, it's gonna be like Godzilla's gonna come out of the ocean, and people are gonna be like, oh, "Crazy Joe, man, fake news," Yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. But such is life. We live in a world full of crazy people, and I guess we either contribute to it or we probably all contribute to it. Honestly.
Yeah. The world it's crazier. And at this point, especially this year, at this point, I'm just expecting something else crazy to happen. Like every day, I'm just like, all right, what's on the calendar for October coming up? Oh, vampire bats taking over. Let's go.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man, vampire bats. I would not be surprised. I'd be like, okay, whatever. It's like, do we wear repellent masks?
Well, maybe don't suck out the corona.
Exactly. It's like, are we wearing masks still for this, or like, is there some sort of repellent? Just to let me know.
Yeah, just at this point, I'm ready. A natural disaster or crazy fictional disaster we got going on, I'm ready.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Well, man, I think we about covered pretty much the whole spectrum of stuff for Irrelevant E episode 1.
Yes. And I'm so honored and I'm just flattered that I got to be a guest on your first episode. I wish you nothing but success. Hopefully come back and do this again because this has been the most fun I've definitely had in a long time.
Man, I'm so grateful to have you here, and I appreciate you getting up at the ass crack of dawn to do this. Like, we're recording this and it's currently like 7 p.m. here. What time is it over there now?
It is now 9 a.m. here.
9 a.m. Man, if it was like my day off at 9 a.m., like if you asked me to do a podcast, I would do it. But that might be the only reason I get up on a day off where I didn't have anything to do. So I'm so grateful to have you. Drop your Twitter handle so people can follow you.
Oh yeah, I can be found on Twitter at @Ed_Edens, and I can also be found on Instagram at Jamartian31.
Jamartian31. I don't think I follow you on Instagram, so I'm going to do that.
What?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Man. Thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. I honestly couldn't find a better guest for episode 1 than the guy who has been around since like episode 1 for the Irrelevant Bro. So
appreciate it. Full circle. I do truly appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Do you go by DJ? Is that like what you actually go by?
I do. I go by DJ. My name's DeAndre, but for people when they see it or they try to say it, it usually comes out Deandra, DeAndrea, just anything but my name. So I was like, you know what? Let's just go by DJ. It's sweet, it's easy, and everyone can remember.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you, DJ, for being on the Irrelevant E episode 1. And like I said, I really had a lot of fun, man. I think we got a lot of insight about your military, Japan. Like you drive on the wrong side of the road. That's dope.
We'll get better. I swear. It's a work in progress. We're going to get there.
Well, I wish you all the success and hopefully we cross paths. Dude, we're going to have another episode where you're on because this was way too much fun. So.
Absolutely. You know what? Maybe next time we'll dedicate 12 hours for a whole in-game debate.
Yeah, dude, we may have to actually live stream a marathon and go Marvel marathon it and dissect every single episode or every single movie. I think that should be set up.
Oh man, I don't know if they're ready. I don't know if the people are ready for that. There's gonna be a lot of people get hurt feelings when we get to some of those movies.
If they make it through episode 1, I think they're ready. I think they're ready for it.
Okay, you think so? Then let's give it to him.
Yeah, dude, that'd be crazy if people were like, well, I can deal with the race talk, but I can't deal with him hating on Marvel movies. So.
How dare he say that about Iron Man? That's where I draw the line, bucko.
What did he say about Guardians? Absolutely not. Cancel my subscription. Cancel him off the internet. Yeah.
And the sad part is I've seen people like that. I've seen it so often. You say one bad thing about, like, even DC fans, don't ever say Batman can beat Superman or they're going to lose their rocker.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, man. Wait. Hold on. Okay, you brought up a good point. Now, can Batman beat Superman, or do we need a whole episode for this?
Well, we might need a whole episode, but realistically, no, not at all. Let's be real. If Superman turned off his humanity for just a split second, the man moves faster than the speed of a bullet. It doesn't matter what idea Batman has going on. He's not faster than the speed of a bullet. And with the strength of Superman, it's over.
Okay.
So, lamest terms, no. But
I'm with you. I think Batman could beat him in the long game if he had like,
yes.
If for some reason Superman snapped and Batman had like a 2-day head start. But other than that, there is no way. Absolutely not.
But that's the thing. Superman would give him a 2-day. He's going to give him. He's too nice. That's the problem. He's too nice. He's like, you know what? I'll give you a 2-day head start to try to beat me. So of course, Batman being Batman needs like 20 seconds. Head start to beat him. Yep,
I do. You know what? Actually, I might be changing my mind. I think Batman is way too smart and is like he's kind of a sicko. And so he's probably like, I planted a bomb in Lois Lane, so I did this 3 years ago just in case this moment ever happened. Because Batman's sick like that.
You know what? That would be a Batman thing to do. But like I said, we could go on all day about that right there.
We really could.
Just those two.
Why did we do this at the end of the episode? This is not healthy.
Exactly.
Oh man, yeah.
Get the ammunition for next time.
Exactly. And there will be a next time. So, dude, like I said, I really appreciate you being here. So,
thank you so much for having me.
For sure, man. Well, you take care out there in Japan. Good luck with those earthquakes.
Appreciate it.
For sure. Like I said, check it
and
out.
Best of luck to you too.
Thank you. Really, really appreciate it. Check it out. Subscribe. After this
No surrender. Yeah. You know that this right here forever. And there will be no surrender. Now allow me to reintroduce myself. They call me J.O. N to the easy E-N. Know that we undefeated. Y'all are beneath them speeches trying to air a grievance. But his lines are overhead. Better check the air for clearance. Call the tower. This is ours. Clear the heat. The air apparent. Really, I've never been better. Legacy, this is forever. All the more times I've been severed. I'm raising the bar. You can go ahead and measure. Think about time for a toast. Time that we welcome to go. Yo, we're just leaving. I think about time that somebody go get them their coat. You know I got all that anthem. Come back in. What you call that add-on? Got anthems and bands with masters. Getting them rights like my name was Miranda. I ain't bigger dead than alive. I ain't bigger dead than alive. One more time. This is forever. Remember the legend. He never gonna die. Yeah. I ain't bigger dead than alive. Bigger dead than alive. I ain't bigger dead than alive. Dead than alive. Yeah. I ain't bigger dead than alive. Bigger dead than alive. Just making sure that you know why. Because this is forever.